Welcome to Life with DIY, formerly known as Zline. I want to expand my channel beyond just car stuff, but today we're staying on topic, so without further ado, here are 11 things I wish I knew before I got under my car. Older cars need better tools. I have snapped the heads off way too many bolts underneath my 350Z. It hasn't seen any winters, and it didn't look particularly rusty, but the simple fact that I tried to torque it off with a wrench rather than use an impact gun was enough to snap the heads right off the bolt.
I think we broke through to something. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the bolt.
Basically, if it looks fine, it might still be seized, but such is the way with older cars. There have also been times where bolt heads were just stripped beyond salvation, and I've had to buy special extractor sockets just to get them off. So be prepared to spend more money if you're working with an older or a rustier car. Don't cheap out on tools. Always get the right tool. Another issue I had with tools is one time I used 12-point sockets that I had laying around rather than buying a set of proper hex sockets. And the thing about 12-point sockets is that they will strip bolt heads like it's their job. If a seized bolt is a jar lid, then 12-point sockets are like your girlfriend's weak, slippy, useless hands. And hex sockets are your seasoned veteran man hands coming to the rescue.
No, you can't get mad at me, see? Because if you're watching this video as a girl, then your girlfriend's hands are actually your boyfriend's hands.
Oh.
Trust me on this one, spend the extra money and get the proper tool. It'll save you a lot of time, headache, and probably even money in the long run versus buying the cheaper tool. Sometimes it's better to buy a tool that you think you won't need. Allow me to explain. One thing I've learned is that you can never really have too many tools unless you're like a hoarder. But one time I had an opportunity to buy an oil filter wrench, but I figured I would just get it off by hand like all the other times. And well, it turns out that I did need it, and by the time I'd realized that I needed it, all the stores were closed. So what I had to do was stab the oil filter with like an ice pick and just torque it off while I had like engine blood spilling all over me. It was not a pretty sight. And there wasn't even enough clearance to just stab it once and then turn it all the way around. So I needed to stab it repeatedly and do like a quarter turn each time because it got covered in oil. It was brutal. If I could go back, I would buy that oil wrench in a second. Number 4, do your research before you get under the car, not after.
What are you doing?
Oh.
Jesus.
Get your game plan figured out in the pre-game huddle. Don't go out into the field and improvise and then fumble the ball. You amateur. An actor doesn't read off the script in the middle of a play. What is this, an open book test? Joking aside, you don't want to be worrying about how the hell you're going to put your car back together when it's already halfway taken apart. It's demoralizing and it slows everything down, which is detrimental if you're on limited time, which most of us are. We don't exactly get paid by the hour. If you want to see the best way, in my opinion, to prepare for and execute a fix, check out my video about how to fix any car problem. Number 5. Get a torque wrench. Get some thread locker. One of the concerns that I've heard from a lot of people is that they're afraid that if they take things apart and put it back together, it's just going to fall apart when they're driving it. Well, knock knock. Who's there? Torque Specs, and I'm here to save you from indirectly killing yourself, much like how Epstein indirectly killed himself. Every bolt on a car has a torque specification from factory, which you can find in the factory service manual, aka the workshop manual or repair manual. If not directly from the manufacturer, you can usually find it from third parties. Torque specs are basically a measurement of how tight you need to make it, and you can achieve a certain tightness using said torque wrench. Another good practice is using thread locker, specifically on threads that are going to see a lot of vibration, like suspension parts, brake parts, etc. It's basically just a liquid that you put one drop on the bolt and then it hardens over like an hour, so it doesn't rattle out. Although there's no wrong time to use thread locker on an external bolt. Just don't drip it into your engine, that obviously. I would hope that's obvious. Number 6, don't half-ass it. Don't cut corners. Do it right The first time. Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at you. I have admittedly half-assed my fair share of things on my cars. For example, I had a leaky oil pan and instead of replacing it, I plastered it in JB Weld. Or I have a leaky roof and instead of sealing it properly, I plastered it with duct tape. Or my exhaust flange, which is also leaky, and instead of replacing it, I plastered it in an exhaust putty. I really hate leaks.
Oh, did you think I was done? I can keep going, baby. Who could forget my bungee corded trunk, my self-tap drill down bumper, my exhaust joint made of C-clamps, and of course, my tuck tape taillight.
Don't get me wrong, you might get away with it, but if you pull a cake out of the oven before it's ready, more often than not, it's gonna cave in the middle and you're gonna disappoint everyone you love. Save yourself the trouble, do it right the first time. Number 7, buy lights. You see this? You see how my face got brighter there? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get a good handheld light, get a good LED head strap, and get a good shop light too. There have been way too many times where I didn't give myself enough time, or I started too late in the day, and eventually I was forced to work in the dark. It's frustrating, it's unnecessary, and it's hard, like trying to pee with morning wood. Which leads me to my next point. Number 8, start early in the day. The last thing you want to do is force yourself into a time crunch. It's just more unnecessary frustration and anxiety. Give yourself ample time and then some. That way you have time to deal with the fix and any unexpected hurdles. Trust me, there's nothing better than finishing before dark and enjoying an ice cold beer. Number 9, pay attention to when you're setting yourself up for injury. Ow.
Right in the temple.
Jesus.
Ow. Oh, cramp.
Oh.
I'm gonna float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Number 10, wear a dust mask. Try to do it with just off. I cannot begin to stress how important this is. I know that everyone's sick of masks and wearing it on your spare time is like, why would I do that? Why would I do that to myself? I didn't think it was necessary either, but one day I was changing my brakes in the morning and the sun was at just the right angle where it revealed all those microscopic particles coming off my brakes, and it looked like steam, but something tells me that this steam is not going to help me clear my sinuses. If you have any desire at all to live past 45, I highly recommend a dust mask. Brakes and clutches are particularly bad, but I would even recommend it if you're working with a rusty underbody, because every time you bang up on that metal, it's just going to release, you know.
Fucking rust in my face. I think I got on my mouth too.
Last but not least, number 11. It's not as scary as it seems. Remember that it's only daunting in your head. As long as you start small, do your research, and practice safe fixing, you'll be fine. Again, if you don't know where to start or if you just want general tips and guidelines, check out my video about how to fix any car problems. I'm sure it'll help you a ton. Okay, number 12. This is a bonus tip. Get a speaker. Music and podcasts have saved me from a handful of psychotic breaks. So, shout out to this fella. Ultimately, co-work can be a very frustrating hobby.
How difficult is it to get this piece of
But like many frustrating tasks in life, it can also be very rewarding.
Oh, look at that. Yo, it's so clean. Woo!
Look at that difference. That looks great.
Yeah! Let's go!
Yes.
Anyways, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed my video as much as I enjoyed giving you my video, babe. What am I talking about? I know it was as good for you as it was for me, babe. One more time, this is no longer Zline, this is Life with DIY, as in life with the lifestyle, as in like the DIY lifestyle, I guess. Subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. I would much appreciate it, all of those things. I would appreciate all of those things because every little bit helps. Every drop in the bucket adds another milliliter for the thirsty kids to drink from. and I'm the thirsty kids. I don't know where I was going with that analogy. I don't know why you're still here, to be honest. The video is over. You can go. It's done. If you want, I can like start like breaking into like a rap, like rap thing for you. Yeah? Is that what you want? Okay. Yeah. Life with DIY. We're chilling. On the barbecue, we're grilling. Making ribs sauteed. Yeah, I'm gonna get laid. Why you still here?
Why you still here?
What?
You're kind of a queer.